Welcome back to Tech Coach Corner, a YouTube series presented by Dyknow. I'm Tiara Lustig, your host. Before we get into the conversation, don't forget to subscribe to Dyno's YouTube channel and go ahead and follow us on all of our social media. We'd love to engage with you there and keep an eye out for our next digital event as well as some exciting offers that are coming up. I think that's all I have to plug today, so let's jump into the episode. Welcome back to Tech Coach Corner, everyone. Excited to have you join us today. Today, I am joined by Todd Nesloney, who is the Director of Culture and Strategic Leadership at the Texas Elementary Principals and Supervisors Association. Todd, would you mind giving a brief introduction to yourself for people before we get started?
Yeah, I'm thrilled to be here. Like you said, my name's Todd Nesloney. I have been elementary teacher. I've served as an elementary principal, and I'm in my newer role as a director of culture and strategic leadership. So I've written a couple books, and I get to work across the country and actually the world with leaders and educators and just trying to help inspire and encourage others and give some new ideas.
Definitely. It's a great time for inspiration and new ideas, especially as we head into the summer months and let people ruminate on ideas going into back to school season. We had you on the Tackling Tech podcast, and we talked about a lot of great topics, one of which was your philosophy on leadership and your experience with leadership. I would love if you could talk a little bit more about what your philosophy is on leadership and maybe how people can integrate that philosophy into their own leadership style.
You know, I think of my own journey when I think of my philosophy on leadership, and that is when I became an educator, I just wanted to inspire kids and really have that memorable teacher in their life, because in my own personal life, I never had that teacher who just stuck out to me. I was always quiet, well-behaved, and so I never really got much attention. And so when I moved into education, I got to work underneath 4 different principals at the same school. And I got to see a principal who was amazing, one who was a screamer, one who was not the friendliest person in the world, and another one who I testified in her trial and she went to jail. So I got to experience 4 very different types of leadership that really helped guide me into the leader that I wanted to be. And when I became a principal, I just incorporated all those great lessons I'd learned from the good and bad leaders, because you learn from all of them. And I thought, you know, I brought a lot of what I believe in my own faith into my idea of a leader as well. And all of that just circled around to, I believe at the core, a leader has to be all about servant leadership. You can't be the person at the top who thinks you are the best and everyone has to bow down and do what you say. Yes, the buck stops with you, and you have to make a lot of decisions, and there's going to be people who love the decisions you make, people who hate the decisions you make and tell you to your face, and people who hate the decisions you make and talk about you behind your back. So there's always going to be those types of people. But if you are truly out there pouring into others, letting them know that they are seen, that they are heard, that they are valued, finding their strengths and exemplifying those strengths to let them see, even when they can't see their own strengths, helping them bring that to fruition. And then knowing that there's going to be days you've got to cover a classroom. You've got to be by their side when they have a difficult conversation. You've got to go to the store and pick something up for them. You've got to sit in your office and just listen to them as they break down over something tough that happened that day. You have to cook a meal for your people one day, bring in their favorite Sonic drink, like whatever it is, or even just write that note that you put on their desk, on their door, in their box, and just letting them know, hey, I see you, and I think you're doing a great job. Because you know, as an educator, there are many days we feel like we suck at this job and that we are not doing a very good job. And so when our leader pours into us and tells us that they acknowledge the hard work we're putting in, the hours, the sweat, the tears, sometimes the blood, all that kind of stuff, it really makes an impact. And it makes you want to come back and work harder for that leader. It makes you want to go above and beyond for that leader because you know that they value you. So it really comes down to, is the leader willing to be a servant and know that they are just as good as the people there? They're not better than them, but also are they willing to step in and tell you what a great job you're doing?
Yeah, I think that's a fantastic philosophy to have. I love how you started off by talking about the leaders that you learned from. I always say one of the best ways to learn how to do something is to learn how not to do it.
Yep.
So I think that's a great kind of taking nuggets of good and bad from previous leaders who you've been involved with, and kind of embedding that into your leadership style. One other thing I wanted to touch on in this conversation is you talk a lot about how everyone in a school should practice leadership and be thought of as a leader. Can you touch on that a little bit as well?
You're exactly right. I believe that, when a teacher says something to me like, I'm just a teacher, or I'm just the instructional aide, or I'm just the secretary, I have to remind them that you are so much more than that. Every single adult who steps foot onto that campus is a leader, period, end of story. You may not have the title that people associate with the leader, quote unquote, but you have eyes that are watching you, you have ears that are listening to what you're saying, and you have people who are either wanting to emulate you or wanting to be nothing like you, depending on the example that you're setting. And so we have to realize that all of us play a role in what happens on campus because we're all leaders. And when we step into that leadership and when we step into that light and own our genius and own our brilliance, what that does is that empowers us to really feel value in our voice and to realize that, yeah, I'm a leader. Yeah, I can step up here. I can speak out here. I can say this or that, or join in this conversation or help lead this. I can do all those things. And so that's when it really begins to make a difference for you.
Definitely. I can tell how passionate you are through Zoom about leadership, and it's great to hear you talk on the topic. Tell everyone where they can engage with you and connect with you if they want to learn more about you or learn from you and check out your books.
Yeah, so my website is definitely the easiest place. It's just toddnesloney.com. If you don't know how to spell it, just guess in Google and it'll take you to my site. But it's got all my social media links. It's got my books, videos, resources, and my 2 brand new online self-paced courses. So
Perfect. Well, we'll link all of that below, and hopefully people will engage with you and continue to learn from you. Thank you so much for sharing your philosophy on leadership with us.
awesome. Thank you.